Now let's get to some of your comments on our big story last night from Blair Best. She introduced us to a homeless woman named Jade here who lives in Portland and is addicted to fentanyl. Blair showed us a day in the life of Jade, which revolves around the deadly drug. Jade's mom helps her by bringing food and doing laundry. She told Blair that she cannot pretend her daughter does not exist. She has to try to help her. Jade has made it clear she does not want to stop using fentanyl. It was a tough story on so many levels, and if you missed it, you should check it out on the KGW YouTube channel. We asked you to share your stories if you've experienced something similar. Here's a voicemail from a viewer named Rebecca.
I am the mother of a daughter who was addicted to drugs and alcohol. We tried many times to help her, get her into treatment, and it was a vicious cycle. And the only thing that I can think of that would work would be to put them into a situation where they cannot get out until they have spent years retraining their brain how to function in society. My daughter passed away at 34 years old. Drug addiction is a problem, and we are not attacking it in the way that it should be attacked. It is a brain issue, and they do not come, most of them don't come to the point of turning their lives around. They end up in the ground.
How about that? Ann wrote to us, my daughter, once a state gymnastics champion, is now homeless on the streets of Portland at the age of 23. We have no family history of addiction. She fell into her addiction directly related to the friend group she fell into at Westview High School that introduced her to Xanax. She went on, our daughter has done 4 rounds of detox recovery, but the pull of the drug, fentanyl and meth, remains too strong. We've learned that until she wants to get help, there's nothing we can do. But the drugs have rewired her brain so much that I worry that won't ever happen, and the result will be death. Thanks for sharing those heartbreaking stories. Other viewers like Will saw Jade's story and quickly pointed out what he sees as a failure in Oregon law.
People might characterize this as callous, but that's Measure 110. Jade's story is Measure 110. And as someone who voted for Measure 110, I'm so opposed to Measure 110 now, and I want it to be repealed or completely reworked so that drugs are criminalized again.
I, as a viewer of this story, can't help but wonder what would the reactions of the people who created Measure 110, what would their reactions be to Jade's story? I would love to have them sit and watch this and hear what their thoughts are on Jade's struggle and how protecting her autonomy and ensuring that there are no penalties for her use or any sort of forced, strongly encouraged route to sobriety, that you're just letting people like her suffer in their addiction until they inevitably die.
And DJ said Jade's story is an example of why 110 needs to be repealed, writing, here's how to help save those lost souls presently chained to the cartel's drugs, make life on the streets harder, access to drugs harder, charges for possession and use, consequences to shoplifting real. If rock bottom with fentanyl is, as the doctor stated, death, then treatment must be begun before waiting for addicts to hit bottom. Treatment with court-ordered diversion. Jade's story also brought up the dilemma of her mom. Many of you wrote to us that the mom needs to just cut Jade off and stop enabling her to live the way that she's living.
I don't want this woman to die. I don't think any of us do. But as long as mom keeps bringing dinner and the boyfriend keeps picking up the drugs, where's her motivation? There isn't any. There's got to be a better answer than rock bottom is death, so we just keep this going on. There's just got to be a better answer.
That question of what should Jade's mom do caught the attention of someone that we have heard from here before on the show. Martin Camacho is the director of admissions at Cielo Treatment Center in Portland, which specializes in addiction treatment for young adults. He wrote in to us today with some key points from his perspective on what Jade's mom actually should do. First, find support for herself, not for Jade, for mom, whether through friends, family, or a support group. Next, educate yourself about your loved one's drug of choice to better understand the addiction. Communicate openly. Create a safe and non-judgmental space to talk about struggles. Next, avoid enabling behavior like providing money that can be used for drugs, covering up for their actions, or making excuses for them. Encourage professional help from a counselor, therapist, or addiction specialist. Help them find treatment and take them if they cannot get there themselves. Set boundaries, define acceptable behavior and consequences, and then stick to those. Support treatment plans. If a loved one decides to get help, be involved. And finally, be patient. Recovery is challenging and ongoing. Thanks for everyone for your input. The addiction crisis is a topic that we're going to stay on top of for weeks and months to come.